vecumiņu. Līgo, līgo, ozoliņi, ozoliņi, līgo, līgo, tavu lielu vecumiņu. Līgo, līgo, es piedzimu tev atradu. Līgo, līgo, es nomiršu, tu paliksi. Līgo, līgo, es piedzimu tev atradu. Līgo, līgo, es nomiršu, tu paliksi. Līgo, līgo, sanāk atrijāja bērni. Līgo, līgo, zem kuklāja ozoliņam. Līgo, līgo, sanāk atrijāja bērni. Līgo, līgo, zem kuklāja ozoliņam. Līgo, līgo, zem kuklāja ozoliņam. Līgo, līgo, tur jāvīša goda vieta. Līgo, līgo, zem kuklāja ozoliņam. Līgo, līgo, tur jāvīša goda vieta. Līgo, līgo.
Hey, you folks. All right. Everything flipped around here. Hope everyone's doing well. All right. Bring up Discord.
Well, they always do the little.
Hello,
First.
Discord. Y'all go ahead. What's going on this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
That, Don Maxwell, is a loaded question for you.
Well, we love loaded questions, don't we?
Yeah, topic's very good for me.
Topic's very good for you. What the hell is the topic? Let me pull this damn thing down so I can see. Hell, I don't even remember what the topic is. Oh, yeah.
Carrying hate and anger.
Carrying hate and anger. Man, it is the, you know, I'm 58 years old. I've seen a shitboatload of hate and anger through the years, I'll tell you. But here in 2020,
Beats it all.
oh man. I mean, yeah, okay. I was a young man in the 60s and 70s, and I remember segregation and desegregation of schools and buses and what have you. And there was a bunch of strife back then, but oh my God, here in 2020, it is absolutely crazy. So, carrying hate and anger. Now let's kind of go with the description of where it's coming from, right? Let me read this out real quick. Carrying hate and anger is not healthy. I say humans are the world's worst about storing hate and anger, compressing it, storing it, shoving it down, stuffing it. We carry that with us on a daily basis, and it's damaging to our health. Now, one of the questions that I'm going to be talking about in this hour is, what can we do to let it go? I mean, we all know, for me, I know where my hate and anger comes from. For each and every one of you out there that watch our broadcast, I'm sure you have an idea of where your hate and anger comes from. So where it comes from and the cause of it is not the topic of today's discussion. The topic of today's discussion is, how do we let it go? How do we get past it? How do we move on? How do we stop allowing the hate and anger to constantly control who and what we are, instead of us learning how to discharge it, to let it go, to let it stop defining who and what we are? So that's kind of going to,
Well, we have a mutual person, I said it nicely, that has the hate and anger carrying on for what, 12, 15 years now? And he still hasn't let it go. I'm going to have to talk to him.
But it and you raise an interesting question.
Mhm.
Is it my responsibility? Is it your responsibility to get or make someone release their hate and anger if you've tried to help them and they just flat refuse?
In that case, that person is on my back burner or he is an associate way off. Now, I've loved this man for many years, but the drama and the chaos that he carries will no longer be in my life because I don't want the chaos and anger and hate. I'm with everything that's going on these days. I've had cancer. I've had my husband had heart trouble. Just got out of hospital. Don't want any of the hate and anger around us. So the only way that an adult how not to carry it is to purge the
No,
friendship.
don't use the word purge.
I'm okay. He's
Re-
an associate. How's that?
Release, get rid of, flush out. Sorry, I don't like the word purge because it usually purging
Mm,
ends up praying to the porcelain commode goddess, and I just don't want any of that. Semantics, as it were.
okay.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. If we surround ourselves with people who are full of hate and anger, and I'm not going to use terms like, bigots, I'm not going to use terms like homophobic, um, anti pagan rhetoric, um, because that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about overall, right? Hate and anger.
Right. Right.
Um, if
Clint,
hmm?
I gotta go take something to Paul real quick. Clint, keep on chat. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Man, no worries. Yeah, take care of Paul. Poor man just went through heart surgery. Go take care of Paul. So how does anybody else get rid of the hate and anger? I mean, what do you do? Looks like Lee joined us in chat. Welcome, Lee. What do you do to release that hate and anger, or do you release it? Do you just continue to stuff it until you explode and go all over somebody?
I have a way to release it now. When I'm bearing the drops, I use a whopper and think of, okay, this is this and this, and push it down through that and get it out.
Right. So, how many of us have experienced where hate and anger has truly affected our health, where it's made us sick, where it's made us angry to the point where we end up saying something we regret or doing something we regret? What kinds of experiences have you guys had about that?
Well, before I met Tammy, I went through a sort of got engaged and everything, and I got real angry when she decided to end it. Then I became just a walking hulk of a person because the anger and the hate that came through, um, I was just doing it day to day. Wasn't really there.
Okay, but just out of curiosity, so that um, people who may be watching our broadcast will get an understanding. How did that hate and anger affect you physically?
I had no emotions towards anybody, even my own parents and sisters and brothers. I just was there. didn't care.
Right. Lee says Lee says they find a quiet place and listen to music. How did you finally get rid of it, or perhaps learn to deal with it?
Well, at the time I started working at your Wiener Schnitzel hot dog place, the owner of the store, I got pretty close with him at times. He said, "Hey, I need some help," and I wasn't the only male there, but he could see I needed some kind of channeling or something. And we built a porch awning on the side, and I put my anger into building that, and we got it up within a week.
Right. Okay. So, physical activity, you say, is a good channel for anger and hate. Um,
Yep. Another one people use is like paintings,
yep.
some kind of something like that, or some people even use music. Like Lee said, the angry music gets it released out.
Yeah, I've talked to people like that, that when they are really angry and mad and they're full of hate, they listen to what they call it. It's not acid rock. It's heavier than that. It's mosh pit, mosh pit, head banging. Yeah, um, helps them get rid of it. I always found that acid rock and shit like that just makes it worse for me. All the screaming, what we used to call growing up the screaming memes, if you will.
Oh, I remember those.
I mean, acid rock always pissed me off. But then, admittedly enough, I like country music. I like bluegrass. I like Cajun music. I absolutely love indigenous African music.
No, I sound.
Um,
Sorry.
but like Lee said, she finds a quiet place and listens to music. That's a good thing. So what I'm hearing so far is pretty much the same. Physical activity. Being able to channel that hate and anger through something else without necessarily channeling it through someone.
Now, that's different than me. This last week I was up there in the hospital. There's no physical way for me to release. So I had to really remove my spiritual part to be able to release that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. It's the only way to do it. I had to go in front of him. Thank you. Just say, guys, take it. I can't.
Yeah, and Lee says there's only one person I can't get over hating. It's affected me by keeping a low grade stress. I think I kind of like that low grade stress. It's kind of like a low grade fever. It just keeps munching at you until you end up flat on your back or knocked out.
Oh, Lee. Yeah, Lee, I have.
And in all honesty, let's run down the things that cause hate and anger. Okay, spousal abuse is a big cause for hate and anger. Child abuse is a big cause for hate and anger. Environmental abuse by either family members or friends in a particular environment where you're dealing with bullies and people that just flat don't give a damn about anybody's feelings but their own. That is a big cause of hate and anger. We talk about kids in school. Strangely enough, at my age, I remember what it was like to be bullied in school.
I still do all.
Huh?
Said I was bullied a lot in school.
Yeah. And people that know me now, they're like, how the hell were you bullied in school with your attitude? Well, that's kind of where my adult attitude came from, was being bullied in school.
Hey guys,
Yo,
say hi, Paul. We can hear you.
hello, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hope you're getting better there, dude.
One, one day at a time.
One day at a time. There you go. So, I mean, modern day schools have always been, not even modern day, but, schools are a big form of hate and anger. But I think that every child should learn the social interactivity of a school safely, if that's possible. Lee says death threats and all kinds of abuse. Control nuts. I like that. Control nuts. Yeah, absolutely. All of them cause stress. Yes. So, in the world of global social networking, we deal with people that are bullies. We call them trolls on social networking, where people want to get out and troll the social networks and stir crap up and really make people angry with stuff that they could care less about, to be honest with you.
Did you hear?
What?
The biggest problems are hate mongers.
Right, you're echoing a lot, Cindy. What you got?
Am I still echoing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's got it on speaker.
Yes, it's all.
Yeah, well, we may ask you to repeat yourself, but that's all right.
Our biggest problem is hate mongers.
Yeah? Did he say hate mongers?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, hate mongers drive me crazy. Well, on that note, we have hate mongers, we have war mongers, we have shit stirring mongers, we have a bunch of mongers out there that enjoy spreading hate and strife. But the question is, anybody can understand where hate comes from, what causes hate and anger, the perpetrators of hate and anger. But the biggest question comes in, and of course there's no one certain way to handle it. It's like was talked about earlier. How do we get rid of it? How do we release it? Well, through physical activity, through listening to music, to
45 caliber.
say what?
Paul said the 45 caliber.
Well, that might work too, I guess. It's like Lee says, take a step back and breathe. Try to see how it's going to affect them later in life. And people, Lee, I get it, but people are just not going to do that. When you're talking about people out there that are stirring crap and they got their broomstick in the cauldron, so to speak, or they got their big shovel and a bucket full of crap and they're stirring it and throwing it out at as many people as they can possibly throw it out at. That's their entire intent, is to spread hate and anger and drama. We can start by not allowing it to have a negative effect on us. Now that's never easy. Morning, Dave. But when people are when people are spreading hate and strife and what have you, if we carry it, if we hang on to it, that's when it becomes damaging and dangerous to our health. And that's kind of what the whole topic is about, to kind of help some of these people release some of the anger and strife and crap that they're carrying, especially today when every other word on television is COVID-19, when every other word on television is discrimination and people committing discriminating acts. And I want to stay away from the COVID-19 topic. I want to stay away from the Black Lives Matter topic. I want to stay on carrying hate and anger and how to deal with it. We know the causes, right? Society. A lot of society causes hate and anger.
Well, yes, society, yes, and family members.
Yeah.
I was angry with my sister, her older sister, when my parents left, and like me or one could never get up there and see them because of my sister. So I know me and Clint were time, and it finally said, you know what, Clint, it's not worth it. Release it, move on.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. It's not worth it. Release it and move on. The more you carry it, the more you hang on to it, the more damaging it becomes. And
yeah, he said investors.
Say again?
He said that investors consume you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had people argue with me, and it wasn't a debate, it was an absolute argue. That hate has nothing to do with your emotional and physical state. Yes, it does.
Yeah, Dave, you said you could hold a grudge, but not long.
Right.
But you hold a grudge hurting you?
Well, I can see where he's coming from there. He says I can hold a grudge, but not dwell on it. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. But for me, I find if I hold a grudge, I continue to dwell on it in spite of myself. So I have found, okay, some of the people that I just simply choose not to interact with. I choose simply to expel them from my life because of the strife and the bullshit and the rhetoric that they have done in the past. I just don't care to put myself in that position. Case in, go ahead.
Say, love and hate are concentrically opposite. Holding a grudge is just as damaging as an obsessive love. They're both an emotion that has unfathomable control over you if you give it the power. You have to be strong enough to say, no, I'm not going to let this control me. I don't like this person. I don't like what they did to me or whatever. So yes, I'm going to walk away from them. And that's where fixing it comes from. You have to say, I am not going to give it the power to control me any longer.
Okay. All right. Yep, I can see that and totally agree. But do we not find ourselves sometimes being caught up in the whirlwind of chaos before we finally realize, wait, this isn't good for me. I mean, you were talking about love and hate. They both can be just as damaging, especially if the love relationship you're in has you caught up in a spiral of a situation that's not good for you. Been there. Done that. um, let's see.
Dave said I don't have a problem with spelling for. Well, you read it, Doc. I can't right now.
I don't think I understand what he's trying to say. He says, I don't have a problem with spelling far from my life. He says, I sometimes is not good for me. Dave, dude, rewrite that. Oh, expelling. Right. He says he doesn't have a problem with expelling people from his life. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, for the longest time, personally, I had that problem. Trying to do the right thing or trying to be there for people in spite of themselves, if you will. And over time, I kind of come to the realization that if you are intent on self-destruction, if you are intent on being in a situation that is not healthy for you, I've offered you a hand and drew back a nub, so, more power to you. Clint, you were going to say something?
Kenny?
Yeah, you're trying to help fix them, even though it's not good for you, even though they don't want to be helped.
Yeah, see, you can't fix people.
Nope, you have to fix themselves. You can't help do that or stop the hate and anger because it's theirs to bear and not ours.
Yeah, and see, we can be there to listen. I mean, Open Pagan Church and House of Pagans has always been there to listen, to give an opinion when opinion is asked. But we can't fix anyone. Morning, Kenny. So when people are carrying hate, they're carrying anger, and no matter the cause, whether it's caused by an ex-loved one or whether it's caused in by an abusive situation or a toxic friendship or a toxic relationship, as it were, like you say, they have to do it themselves. We can't do it for them. No one can. I've had people that have come to me for counseling, and the first thing I tell them is, okay, look, you got to be ready, you got to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do what needs to be done to be able to get past the situation that you're in. And on the flip side, I've had people say, well, I'll just kill them and get it over with. No, stupid, you can't do that. And I have told people that. I've had people tell me, well, I'll just kill myself and end it. No, stupid, that's not going to help.
That just causes more hate and anger.
Yeah, it does. I've had people...
But they say that they're out of the equation, so it does help.
Well, are they? I mean, as pagan, we believe every pagan path, every pagan denomination I've ever met believes that your spirit lives on and that you continue on after this physical body has died until you're reincarnated into the next body. So the hate doesn't die with you. The anger doesn't die with you. The strife, the hurt doesn't die with you. The only way you get it is to make peace with it. And that's with anything else in life and carrying hate and anger. Until you make peace with it and get around it and get past it, it's always going to affect you. It's going to affect you emotionally and psychologically, and that's going to come back on you physically. Let's think about people who have been abused to the point where they just simply snap. They end up becoming a physical shadow of themselves until they get through it, get around it, and get past it. People that have been abused, a lot of the times, they grow up thinking that's the only way they can be happy is to be abused. So they will continuously put themselves in an abusive relationship. People who have grown up being mistreated and bullied by others, they grow up thinking that's the only way they can be happy in a friendship or in any kind of relationship, is if they put themselves in a bullied relationship. And the thing is, once you get into that whirlwind downfall of that type of situation, what do you do to get out of it? What do you do to get around it? Anybody?
First, you got to realize what's going on, and then you got to work on changing your reactions to everything that is happening to you or that it has happened to you. You got to change that direction, redirect where it needs to go.
Changing your actions to their actions, changing your reactions to their actions. Yeah. Cindy, repeat what, Cindy?
Your question.
Well, the question is, how do you get around letting yourself think that the only relationship you'll ever have is an abusive one? How to get around thinking the only friendship you will ever have with anyone is a bullied friendship? So people continuously put themselves in situations to get with people that are going to abuse them, become friends with people that are going to bully them, and put themselves in positions in life where they're going to be hurt, because it's the only thing they think they're good at.
How to get around that person, you mean?
How do you stop it?
You just said it. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. I don't want to associate with you. I don't want to hear it.
Where do you attain that control if you are so blinded by that? That's all you can see. Where do you get that control back and say, no, I don't want this anymore?
Yeah, you have to make that decision. You have to make that choice. I'm done. I'm through. I'm not going to, and you said it straight up. Stop. Stop the momentum. Stop where it's going. Stop the way you're letting yourself be treated. And, I've had people tell me in the past, well, I can't stop it. They're stronger than I am. Bullshit. When you make the choice, you make the decision, you decide I'm done, and you decide I'm through, then you're going to make the choice to no longer be treated that way.
Well, yeah, this is like my friend, who was a Sealy, if you know what Sealies are, I had the anger toward this person, and he told me the way to publicly get rid of them is not good. Go, sorry about the dogs. You have to confront the person. If you're so much anger in it, just like, oh, even over the telephone, I tell them, I'm done. I don't want any anger from you. I don't want to see it anymore because it's causing chaos in my life. And then that was it. We're done.
Well, on that note, I'm going to ask you, might end up being a rhetorical question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Over the years of people that have come to us to help them out of abusive situations, and we've done so.
Oh boy, have we.
And what do? They turn around and they go right back to it.
Because they're in the cycle of life of being abused, that they're not happy.
They're not strong enough.
Happy or not strong enough to get rid of it.
But how many times have you done the same thing?
One, two, I can keep counting.
Okay? So like you said, stop. Stop that momentum. Stop allowing yourself to be treated that way. Stop allowing yourself to be abused and treated in such a way that you think that's the only way that you're worth to be treated.
Yes, I was like that before I met Paul. I let everybody trample over me, as I call it, because I was no matter what. It was happy. If they wanted the anger out of me, they abused me even. Until Paul came along and said, wake up.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to make the choice to stop carrying the hate and stop carrying the anger. But if you're gonna let's see if I can say this right the way it's in my head anyway. If you're going to stop carrying the hate and anger, you have to stop putting yourself in a position to carry or to be treated the way that causes that hate and anger. Hey, Aaron. Aaron says it's all energy, ours and our lineages. She says if it's in us, or if where we are aware, wait, where'd it go? Holy shit, she wrote a book. Let's see, if she says we're here to transmute and transform it, therefore we won't get rid of it. She says we transform it we transform it into its greatest blessing of it. Okay, well that makes sense. We keep transforming. We keep transformed energy of it. I'm going to let you guys read that because I am absolutely screwing up what she's trying to say. But the last line actually I love. I forgive just because I can. Lisa, stop. Remove yourself from the situation. She says I divorced 2 husbands because of several types of abuse, and I've never been happier. Yes, absolutely. So I mean, the options that are coming up in the chat are absolutely dead on. But at the end of the day, like everyone is saying, to those of you that are watching the pre-recorded broadcast, the biggest way to get rid of anger and hate is to simply start making the decision to not carry it in the first place. if I put myself in a position where I know I'm going to be mistreated, where I know I'm going to be abused, okay, granted, the abuser, it's their fault for taking advantage of, and abusing someone, but it's my fault for allowing myself yet again to be put in that position, to putting myself in that position. So at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to remove myself from that position. It's like, and so much of the drama on social network, I just started deleting people. People who are trolls, people who have no more sense than to just go, oh, forward, oh, forward, oh, forward, oh, forward. It's like you're not even reading the shit you're posting. Delete. So, it's like anything else. Yep, Lee says you should love yourself enough to care how you are treated. Point, set, match. Thank you, Lee. If you love yourself enough, then don't put yourself in the position. And if you see you becoming a part of that situation, remove yourself from it. Take yourself out of toxic situations. Now, I've had people say, well, don't allow yourself to be put in them to begin with. Okay, I get that. That makes perfect sense. But at the same time, if it's all you know, it's the only thing you've ever experienced, and it's the only thing you've ever lived through, it takes a little time sometimes to realize you have put yourself in another toxic situation. So, remove yourself from it. Take yourself out of the situation. And eventually you will reprogram yourself to see the things that are leading up to that situation, to that toxic situation, if you will. Sometimes you just don't see it. But if you're aware, and if you're self-aware enough to be able to see once that situation is turning toxic, you have to have enough faith in self to go, nope, been here, done this, I'm out. All done. Don't want no more. You're not going to treat me that way. And the interesting part of it is, you may actually be helping someone else who may not really realize that they are toxic. Because people who have been abused, people who have been in situations where they have had to live with hate and anger their entire lives, so a lot of times they become a part of the problem instead of a part of the situation. How many of you have experienced that little deal?
I have.
Yeah, you come across someone who is a nice enough person until they get into a relationship, whether it's friends, lover, spouse, whatever, and then all of a sudden, almost overnight, they become toxic and abusive. So perhaps if enough people tell them, okay, look, you're an extremely toxic and abusive individual, and I do not intend on staying in this relationship. Well, the other situation behind that, if anybody's ever dealt with that type of situation, the abuser will come back and go, I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. It'll never happen again. I promise.
No, never.
And, and then before you know it, you've dropped your guard, you've gotten back with the situation, you've gotten back involved in the situation, and all of a sudden, wham, the abuse has started again.
That's like my past marriage to we went into a situation. There was an open relationship, and it started getting abusive, and I went down to the courthouse of my own and filed for divorce. And then when he found out, thank God my son came home, because it got abusive and he left.
Yeah, so and it all comes back to the initial point, if you will, to the initial point of the whole topic of the conversation. Carrying hate and anger is unhealthy. And, well, what it all boils down to is, one, making the decision not to put ourselves in a position to have to live and deal with hate and anger. Well, there's a lot of times that the world and society is going to slam us into that position, whether we want to or not. So how do we deal with it? We make the choice not to become a part of the problem. We make the choice not to hold on to that negative energy, like Aaron said. We take that energy, we manipulate that energy, and we use it for something positive. As easy as it sounds, it's not always easy in practice. Because people who are used to being abused and people who are used to doing nothing but carrying hate and anger, it's really hard to help them get rid of and stop carrying and stop manifesting that hate and anger. And it's like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, here in 2020 when this video was done, there is so much hate and anger, strife. There are so many trolls on the internet. There's so much crap and backstabbing and bullshit going on that at the end of the day, the only thing we can do is defend and protect ourselves by making the choice not to be a part of the problem, but to be a part of the solution. Anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Just that you need, like you said, get an advocate or somebody to not carry the anger. Hang on, here's Paul.
Let it go.
Just let it go. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I know.
Hey, public crown.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just let it go. I really love the song on Frozen, Let It Go.
Yeah.
Let it go. It sounds simple.
Is it simple?
No.
No, it ain't simple.
No, never is. Life is not simple, and nowadays you can't have simple.
But at the end of the day, let me ask you a question. You have to make the decision to be worth it enough to stop carrying the hate and the anger. And it's hard. It's damn hard, especially with people, and I'll raise my hand because I am really bad about having temper issues, having anger issues. So I have to work on myself almost on a daily basis not to carry anger caused by situations for which I have absolutely no freaking control over. But I can, to a degree, and I want to close with this. Go. What?
Not allowing the anger to take control in situations. You do have control. Don't let that anger control you. You control the anger.
Right. But, and you know what I'm going to say, not everybody has that strength in them. They have to realize that strength in them to be able to get past the anger and the hate that they're carrying. They have to recognize it, like we said earlier. They have to accept it. Carrying hate and anger is like any other addiction. You have to learn that it's okay to let it go. You have to learn that it's okay to not allow it to control and destroy you anymore. You know, with that in mind, the world is full of hate and anger. People are full of hate and anger. And as we have said in today's broadcast, change your reaction to others' actions. Change the way you hang on to that hate and anger. Because remember, it's unhealthy. It's damaging to your health, it's damaging to your physical being, and it's also very damaging to your spirit. Well, we're going to wish you a very happy week, and damn, let go of that hate and anger. Look at a more healthy life. You'll feel better. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week here on Open Pagan Church. Have a great day and have a great week.